Well, I can't tell you the name of my hotel tonight, but it does involve two trees. If you get that, then you and I are friends. All right. We're in New England. We played a bunch of pinball, and that's the royal we. I have a different microphone than normal, and I don't trust it. I feel like a man not just out of quarters, but out of his element tonight. But we'll deal with it for episode 194. 194 of Coast to Coast Pinball. Let's go. Welcome to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast of commentary. A man out of quarters joining you tonight on the 11th day of September 2015. Coming to you not live from the outskirts of Boston, Massachusetts. How are you tonight? It's Friday night. It's late Friday night. I guess it's nearly midnight here on the East Coast. But I'm on Pacific time, so I'm staying up way too late. Played a bunch of pinball tonight. We'll get into that. A lot of news happening. We'll get into that. And hopefully, if things break right, we're going to have a little trip report from someone who's out in the world seeing some pinball as it happens. So let's start tonight off with 5 fast thoughts.
5 fast thoughts.
You know, before I jump into these, I actually meant to do this episode last night, and I literally forgot my microphone setup for this trip. And I had to go buy one today, and I didn't want to buy, like, the full-on nice thing that I use at home. So instead of having, like, the Twilight Zone of microphone setups for mobile recording, tonight we're working with the... let's see. What could I be mean to right now? Tonight we're working with the... It's not horrible. It's just kind of blah. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's the Black Rose of microphone mobile setups. I just don't really know how I think about it. It doesn't really draw me in, if you will. Anyway, fast thought number 1. Expo's coming. Like, it's happening soon. I feel like we're about a month away from Expo. A month, 5 weeks away maybe. And the Expo schedule was posted last night or today, so it's real. We can see what's happening. We've confirmed Dutch Pinball is going to be there, Highway Pinball is going to be there, Stern, Jersey Jack, Spooky, others. There will be more, but a lot of things happening that will, be fleshed out, I think, at Expo. We will get to see the Game of Thrones pinball in person, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit, but just that's on my mind right now, is that I cannot wait for Expo in Chicago in October. Fast thought number 2. A new Color DMD was announced. Every time Color DMD announces a new title, I kind of cringe a little bit, because when they announce Twilight Zone, I'm going to have to buy that, and I don't want to spend the money right now. I'm saving for other things. I'm doing other things, but when they announce it, I will buy it. That's the facts. In fact, I almost want to buy one and just put it on white, because I think that looks awesome on Twilight Zone, but I don't do it. But they announced World Poker Tour, so if you're owner of World Poker Tour and you hadn't heard, now you can get a Color DMD for your World Poker Tour. And that might be a game I would put on my underrated games list, maybe. Is that I think it's underrated. It's a good value game, if nothing else. Fast thought number 3. Eden Stam has set the Guinness Book of World Records for longest pinball marathon. He is a top 100 player. I think he's ranked 54th in the IFPA right now. He's number 1 in British Columbia, and he's been around the scene for quite a while. And he set the record for playing pinball continuously. That is with 5-minute breaks every hour available to him. He played 28 hours of consecutive pinball on a Twilight Zone. His final shot, for those of you keeping track, as he crossed the 28-hour mark, was a lock shot and extra ball all in one. It's kind of a nice way to end it. I watched a quick video with Eden, and he said that the worst part about it was around hours 12 through 15. He started getting really achy, so he had to do some Advil action. And he did it because to prove you can do stuff that you set your mind to it. If you just have to be dedicated, you can do anything, is what he said. So somewhere out there, Jack Danger is plotting and planning, I have a feeling. Fast thought number 4. Interesting thing came across my Facebook feed today, the Coast2Coast Pinball Facebook feed, which you can follow me on Facebook. I'm not all that interesting on Facebook. I mostly post the shows and photos of pinball here and there. It's more interesting when I'm at a show or something, for sure. But tonight, I noticed that Jersey Jack Pinball posted the Pinball on a Stick earnings collection report for the pinball machines that were at the Minnesota State Fair. And they posted it, I think partly because Wizard of Oz was the number 1 earning pinball machine at Pinball on a Stick this year. It garnered 15% of the money of the 11 games they were tracking. And I don't know if that was all 11, all they had there was 11 games, I'm not sure. But there's 11 games listed here. And in order from most money taken in to least money taken in, Wizard of Oz was number 1. Walking Dead, number 2, which I everywhere I go and see Walking Dead's on location, people are putting money into Walking Dead. That is the strength of that theme right there. South Park, number 3, still. You always hear that was a great earning game. It still draws people in. That was actually tied. 3 and 4 and 5 were all tied. South Park, Kiss, and Star Trek. All right there. Then Attack from Mars, Tales of the Arabian Nights, 8-Ball Deluxe. I like that. Hercules, which is sort of the gimmick factor there. Mustang, number 5. WWE WrestleMania, 5%. It was actually number 10. And WrestleMania was in last place, 11th place, with 4% of the money. So, just as we've talked about on this show, and I think the overwhelming kind of thought, groupthink in the pinball community is that WrestleMania and Mustang were sort of weaker themes. It seems it turned out that way at Pinball on a Stick, that those themes did not draw the money. And interesting to see 8-Ball Deluxe earning almost twice as much money as either one of those games, and as much money as both of them combined. So that speaks to the strength of 8-Ball Deluxe and what kind of a timeless game that could be. But, the Wizard of Oz thing is real. You put a high-definition display on a pinball machine, and people want to play it. Now, I don't think that matters what I think of it or what a top player might think of Wizard of Oz. As far as an earnings game, it does bring people in. Now, granted, it's more expensive, takes more money to pay it off, but I think that there's a lesson to be learned somewhere in there about themes and shininess and timelessness of things like Attack from Mars and 8-Ball Deluxe. So I thought that was very interesting. Number 5, I want to give a shout out to Joe Saeed, Pinball Joe. If you don't know Joe, Joe is a high level competitive pinball player. Joe founded a organization called pinball.edu, which you can see at the website pinball-edu.org. And it is a organization that is, I think the idea there is they're trying to, raise money and use pinball as an educational and therapeutic tool. I stole that right out of his quote off his website. But if you see their executive director, their advisory board, big names, Roger Sharp, Nicole Wright, Steve Zoller, Kathy Gagnon, Joe Rosenkrantz, big names in pinball are teamed up with Joe on this. Specifically right now, I brought this up because Joe was streaming live from Stern's Pinball Factory. On the floor, he played a day of Mustang and then a day of The Walking Dead. He's raising money for Games versus Autism, and he's playing with a rule set called Pinball Done Quick. And I have invited Joe to come onto the show. I think we're going to do that in the future because I want to talk more about that. But just in a nutshell, Pinball Done Quick, the idea is you set a goal and you see how quickly you can achieve that goal, and you use the timing as a factor in how you play. So, but go check out Joe's stream. You can find him at Twitch TV/Pinball Joe. So if you just Google Twitch Pinball Joe altogether, you'll find him no problem. And so there's 8 total hours of him on the floor at Stern. You see employees in the background. You see drop-ins by John Borg. You see people taking tours. It's a lot of fun. My quote I liked from Joe that I found in his Walking Dead stream is, "This game is pretty violent." Yes, it is. So there's 5 fast thoughts for this late Friday night. So talking about Joe and Pinball Joe and streaming on Twitch, Many of you know, and boy, let me tell you, I asked you guys to please subscribe to the Coast to Coast Pinball YouTube page, and it has warmed my pinball heart to see my phone just light up over the past few days constantly with different people subscribing. So I get a little email update every time somebody subscribes to the page, and I got a lot of. I think I doubled my subscriptions to my very right now early young infantile Coast to Coast Pinball YouTube page. But I do appreciate it. Let's see what we're up to. So, yeah, almost doubled how many subscribers we had. And there's not a ton on there right now. You'll see one live stream that Teresa and I did recently, and then some other little videos I've posted over the past couple years. Some of it's silly, some of it's, I've experimented with putting the podcast up just as an audio thing with static image for YouTube, just to try and grab some listeners. I don't know if that works or not. But I will tell you, I am working very hard right now on a couple different concepts for video content to go along with the podcast. It won't replace the podcast or anything, don't worry. But I have a couple ideas. I'm trying to figure the logistics of it out, the cost of it all, and how to make it happen. But I would love you to be a part of the YouTube page so that when I do go live with something, you're there to see it. I can tell you, somebody asked me, why did you choose to stream on YouTube and not Twitch? Because most people are streaming games and pinball on Twitch TV and not YouTube. YouTube's sort of the lesser known option for live streaming. I will tell you this. I don't plan on being, Dead Flip. I don't plan on being, Joe, Pinball Joe, or Brody Even Pinball, or, some of the other guys doing lots of streaming all the time. And I know I always say the same ones, just the ones I've watched a lot of. And I know there's lots of people out there doing streams. I don't anticipate that becoming a continuous thing for me. It's time intensive. It's a lot of work. It's a finicky system. Streaming live streaming is tough to pull off and make it smooth and go well. So when you see people doing it, know that they spent money and time to get it to happen. It was a test of proof of concept more than anything. I have a new computer that I'm using for some of the video stuff I'm working on, and it occurred to me hey, I wonder if I could get a stream up and going, and I did. And YouTube is going to be a better platform for what I want to do, and they do offer live streaming, and I just kind of wanted to try it, and it was fun. And I probably will do some more of those, but they'll be sporadic. I don't anticipate a schedule or anything. But so that's why if I was going to put up a weekly or a monthly Coast to Coast Pinball stream, it would probably be on Twitch. But I don't plan on that happening. It's more likely just here and there. If friends come over or interesting people are in town or whatever might do it. So that's why YouTube, because I do have some ideas and some things that I am working very hard on right now for the YouTube channel that I think are going to be a lot of fun and tell some stories about this awesome thing of pinball. So that is to answer the questions to people of why aren't you on Twitch? Why aren't you on Twitch? So I'm not on Twitch just because I don't think it's really where I belong right now. People asked me also to tell how I got up in streaming. And, there's a thread on Pinside where people go in depth about how they do their streaming. And I really just looked at that thread and sort of figured out what everybody else was doing. First thing you're going to need to do is make sure you have a good internet connection, and you're going to make sure you have a good computer. You need a pretty good graphics card, but there is lots of information in there. You need multiple cameras, and I will tell you that USB-based cameras are finicky when plugging in and plugging out. I have many restarts to get that thing going. It's not the easiest thing in the world. I would say all in, not including my computer, but from when I said, hey, I want to put a stream up, all in spent probably, with one existing webcam I already had at home, so I would say somewhere in the range with, I already own some tripods, I already own microphones, so I probably only spent about $250 to $300 getting some extended USB cables, a couple HD webcams. I needed a different style lighting rig tripod to actually hang a camera over the playfield. I had tripods for, the DMD and the player perspective, but I needed something to go up high. So probably $250 to $300. It could be done for a little less. I was, ordering things that I knew would work. I was also a little weary because I know when I've done this show and I've done multiple people recording audio into the program I use to record audio, I thought, oh, I'm going to buy the same headset mic for a few different people. And I tried that out at a show or a festival I was at. And my computer immediately didn't like that they were both the same model headset microphone. That bothered it. So I had to go out and buy separate models so the computer can tell them apart. And I had read people having that same problem with streaming systems. So instead of buying, 3 of the same Logitech HD webcams, I didn't want to run into that. So I bought like different webcams, and some perform better than others. And I don't know. So I am by no means the expert on that. I would encourage you, if you're really interested in putting a stream together, which you should, because it's actually a lot of fun. And you don't have to broadcast them live. You can record. XSplit is the software that I use. I think that's what most of the people are using. And there's a free version of XSplit. I did go ahead and buy the more expensive version because I was trying to play with some of the features that weren't available free. So, but I don't know that that's necessary to get a stream up. So anyway, XSplit, a few webcams, a good computer, and a good internet. Upload really important there, and I get 10 gig upload at my place because I'm in Southern California and we have good internet, luckily. So that's all I know about that.
Trip reports.
So oftentimes when I'm in the Boston area, I do everything I can to get out to the Pinball Wizard arcade in Pelham, New Hampshire, and I did that after work tonight. Got to spend a couple hours there, had a lot of fun. Sarah, who is the owner and operator there, has a awesome place, and if you've been a long-time listener of the show, you've heard me talk about it. If you're new with us, it's an arcade with I don't know 100 and something pinball machines from I won't say all eras, but from many eras. The first game I played tonight was Harlem Globetrotters. The last game I played tonight was The Walking Dead LE. They have all sorts of games. They have, the classics, the Addams Family, Twilight Zones, the Medieval Madnesses. They have games like Maverick, Doctor Who, Mousing Around, Paragon, Embryon, Xenon, Space Station, Space Shuttle. Just tons of great games. Lots of new Sterns. Mustang, I believe that's a limited edition, maybe a premium. They have a Star Trek premium, limited edition. Tron. I mean, tons and tons of great games, and everything's in really good shape. And I went there really specifically because I had heard, and I think I actually mentioned it on the show, that they had gotten one of the very first full throttle machines from Highway Pinball. So that was like my driving force today. It was like, I want to go play full throttle, in the wild, as they say. I want to put money into full throttle. It's one thing to play a game at a show, when you're chatting with people and you're just trying to take it in, and maybe the guy who designed the game is right next to you. It's another thing to be out on your own and actually put your coins or your tokens, as it may be, into a game, and actually, everything really counts to you because you can't just hit start again and keep playing for free. So I got there, and there it was in all its shining glory. And I gotta say, I'm not a fan of the back box on the Highway Pinball games. I don't like it. I get why they did it, but walking in across the room, the game looked great, looked fantastic. I'm not a huge fan of the ultra wide sort of silver trim around the glass, but I will say, walking in, all lit up across the room, it looked great. It looks fantastic. So I played it. The volume was up nice and loud. I could hear everything, all the call-outs. It's an interesting game. It doesn't feel like anything else. That is the best thing I can tell you for a first look. And I played about 7 or 8 games of it tonight. Varying scores most of my games are probably in the 15 to 25 million range. I think I had one really good game up higher. And there were some high scores on this game, so some people have figured this stuff out. I figured out how to get to the main multi-ball. I figured out how to start the races, which this game has some really good modes. I figured out just some of the little tricks and things going on with full throttle. I still don't love the theme. It just doesn't do anything for me, but it's very well done, if that makes sense. So I don't have to like it to appreciate it. I appreciate the layout. The layout's interesting. Like I said, the shots feel unique. It's fast. This game is quick. There were times where, I just couldn't keep track of the ball. The game has one of those one-way gates coming down by the outlane where, I'm trying to think of an older game that does it Is it Paragon that does that on the bottom left flipper, I think? There's lots of games that do it from that era, but sort of a return of this idea of a ball can come down towards your out lane, and if it's moving fast enough, can come through to your flipper, or if it's not moving fast enough, it can drain through the out lane. So it has that on the left-hand side, and sometimes the ball loops through that left sort of in-lane area and through that gate so fast, and you have to time it. Because if you don't flip, the ball's just going straight down the drain. So there's a lot of good physical things happening in this game that keep you on your toes, for sure. A lot of tight shots. I had real just trouble finding some of the shots on that game. There's a lot to shoot for. The lights look great lit up. I will tell you kind of what I feel about Full Throttle. To me, I couldn't see myself spending the money on it. I will say this: if that theme is of interest to you and you're just looking for something different, I think it's a pretty good buy at their price. And I'm totally blanking on their price point. I believe it's $6,000. But and quite honestly, the artwork sort of is lost on me. Isn't exciting. It's not good or bad to me. It's just I don't care. And there's lots of games out there in the world like that where it's just like, it's okay. But it plays fun. It plays interesting. But maybe the most important thing here about Full Throttle and the long-term viability of that particular game with Alien on the horizon. Because Alien plays right to me. I like sci-fi, I like horror, I especially like those type of things in a pinball machine. That just it's the perfect mix of gaming and I don't know. I wouldn't consider myself a huge sci-fi type nerd guy, but I do like it. I do like it a lot. It's Alien's going to be a dark theme. Obviously, it's a sci-fi horror thriller movie. So if you're figuring around $6,000 for an Alien, you can swap these games out. Remember, these playfields are swappable. You can pull out and swap these games. So to me, Full Throttle becomes more appealing to someone who buys an Alien and is happy with the overall experience of highway pinball and then says, well, I want another game. Well, now you can get another game without buying a whole nother giant pinball machine, right? I mean, that's one of the big pitches on highway pinball is you can quickly change out the game. They recently posted a video where they show an incredibly fast playfield swap. I believe it's under 3 minutes or right around 3 minutes to swap out. I think they use 2 Full Throttle games, of course, because they're not going to show us what doesn't exist yet. But, you know, if you buy an Alien for $6,100, you know, a Full Throttle game at a discounted rate, and I don't remember exactly what that rate would be, if it's half that or if it's third. I don't even know if they've announced that yet. Somebody can please update me on that. Full Throttle then becomes very compelling. So I think it's sort of brilliant that it almost doesn't matter if they don't sell, 500 or 1,000 Full Throttles right off the bat. If they're able to produce those playfields and all the art and graphics, Alien customers are going to be your customers for Full Throttle. I can say this. That's who's going to buy that, because people buying Alien are going to buy that, and if they are happy with it and the experience is good and the gameplay is good, which I've seen nothing yet to think that it won't. I had a lot of air balls on Full Throttle when I played it at Replay FX. Lots. Like, to the point where I was kind of, worried. And in the 7 or so games I played tonight on Full Throttle, I saw one full-on, that was a big air ball where the ball, literally flew. And it was, mainly because I flipped on the fly, hit a drop target, or a stand-up target really, really firmly, and it just popped up in the air. It happens in lots of games. So I think that Highway is going to be in a really good position here if Alien has a strong launch and a strong initial push and shipping, whenever that happens, to then go back behind that and sell in more Full Throttles, because a lot of people are going to love this idea of being able to just slide a playfield underneath the pinball machine and store it away and then pull it out when you want to play another game. It's actually pretty brilliant. So I was impressed by Full Throttle. I had zero issues with the game tonight. In fact, was I just not paying attention? Because I've played Full Throttle multiple times over the past year and a half. I don't remember those spinning wheels on the playfield. That just looked like I felt like I've never seen that before, and I'm sure that had to have been there. That wasn't added in without me noticing. I don't believe, but they're cool. They put some crazy spin on the ball, so you had to really be on your toes playing full throttle, which is a good feeling. And it's a wide body, so it has different geometry than really anything else I've ever played, with those cross ramps and everything going on. Lots of shots. I don't know. I'm pretty excited for Highway Pinball right now. I think going into this year, I thought this could be a big year for them, but obviously it's going to be next year. Next year is going to be does Highway Pinball, just skyrocket up? And I'll say it. I think with Alien, Highway Pinball could find themselves, really right up there neck and neck with Jersey Jack Pinball for the number 2 pinball builder in the world. So, just to sum up the rest of the Pinball Wizard Arcade, you want to go there. If you're in New England and you want to play pinball, go to the Pinball Wizard Arcade. It's a great place. I got there probably around 6 o'clock on a Friday night, maybe 5:30, and there was, maybe 6 or 7 other people playing pinball, which that kind of bums me out. But it is Friday night, it's date night, I get it. But you kind of have the run of the place to yourself, and it was so much fun. I played the daylights out of their Doctor Who. I was really working on a whole new strategy on Doctor Who, which I won't bore you with, but I will tell you it's repair targets all day. So that's what I was working on, and I broke 100 million a few times, so I was liking where I was getting with that game. So I still want a Doctor Who. I've been saying I wanted a Doctor Who since the beginning of this show, and I still want one. So there you go. So that's my quick trip report to the Pinball Wizard Arcade in Pelham, New Hampshire.
Forum static.
I guess we need to follow up a little bit on the Game of Thrones talk from last episode. A lot of feedback on that. I had some really well thought out emails and messages on the Game of Thrones talk. People like Teresa and her unbiased opinion. She, no skin in the game. She's not buying pinball machines. She's just a big Game of Thrones fan. So it was a good thing to have her take last episode just on the artwork. I felt sort of bad at the end of that show that maybe I piled on too hard on that initial take. We're all human. People have feelings. I get that. And, I gotta say, as disappointed as I was with that art package, multiple people pointed out to me that maybe it's just the 3D renders that are making it look so kind of off. And I think there's some truth to that for sure. I know that Stern sort of went into a little bit of a defensive mode in the last couple days by posting some quick videos, quick clips, try to show off the game in a little bit better light, or a little bit less light as it may be. And I don't blame them, because it was a pretty rough reaction from the internet crowd on the reveal of Game of Thrones. The very quick shot of the LE in a dark room up on a rack with the lights going, I guess it showed me a little bit more depth to everything, because that wasn't the 3D render anymore. I still don't think I'm going to be, on board with the artwork ever, but it certainly doesn't make or break the game to me. And I don't even remember if I made this point real clear on last episode. You can still have a great game with bland or bad artwork. My point on Game of Thrones was the missed opportunity to Game of Thrones fans, and how people are really strongly into that IP as a license, and to see something be launched that doesn't meet their expectations, I think probably costs some sales, and we will see how it plays out. This is definitely a game they were banking on selling a large amount of. We know that their strategy going forward is games that they feel are going to be really strong sellers will have pros, premiums, and LEs. And then a game where I think they sort of knew going in wasn't going to be as widespread appeal like WrestleMania. They said right off the bat, this is an LE and a pro. And if that had taken off and caught on like wildfire, if people had underestimated WrestleMania as a theme and everybody bought the LEs really quickly and the pros sold like crazy, we would have seen a premium. But obviously that's not happening. I think now the talk is, are we going to see code? So the fact that they were so quick to say, yeah, there's 3 trim levels here on Game of Thrones tells you they absolutely anticipate it to be a big seller, and it still very well may be. Let's not forget this is a Steve Ritchie game. It still is Game of Thrones. They are still going to have great music, great call-outs, I hope. The rule set will likely be the make or break part of this game, and if it feels good, and it's Steve Ritchie, so it should feel good. I think it's just a disappointment. Many people have speculated that there will be alternate translights, and you don't see the side of the cabinets anyway, and I think there's definitely some truth to that. It may look a lot better in person. I will withhold judgment until I do see one. But as of right now, the art package, it still seems to be causing some people to at least really take a wait-and-see approach. Not everybody. I did get an email from someone saying they were totally happy with it. They liked the people chosen. They liked the artwork style, and they were buying a limited edition. And that's fine. It's all about personal choice, right? Just because I have some opinion or a bunch of people on Pinside tell you it's terrible, it's fine. Your WrestleMania game's awesome. I promise. So, anyway, I don't even know what I'm saying here other than I certainly appreciated the feedback, and I look forward to watching this game as we get closer to the actual release.
Call the people.
Hey, Ed Robertson. How you doing, man?
Good, Nate. What's going on?
Oh, I'm in a hotel in Boston, and you're, walking the streets of Kansas?
I am. I just played a charity gig for Kansas University Hospital here.
So, Kansas City, Kansas, not the more famous to many Kansas City, Missouri.
Correct. I have crossed, I believe, south of the river.
Yeah, I don't know very well. I just know there's a casino on a boat there that I was on one time long ago. That's all I know for sure. So it's like we play Where in the World is Ed Robertson, and you texted me this week that you're going to the Cleveland Pinball and Arcade Show, the first ever Cleveland Pinball and Arcade Show.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly. I had no intention of going, but I had a gig there. It turns out I had a private gig, like a corporate gig in Cleveland, and then I was supposed to head to Kansas the next day, and then I realized the Cleveland Pinball Show was having its first year, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to stick around in Cleveland and go see this show, and I had an amazing time.
I actually got reports today via email that, dude, Ed was at the show in Cleveland, and I got photos of you taking pictures. It was a photo of you taking photos with other people. So it was very meta here.
That's pretty meta, yeah. That's very meta. I had a blast, man. The show is put on by one Don Johnson.
Oh, fantastic name.
Not the Don Johnson you may be thinking of.
Oh, okay.
But super nice guy. His brother Brian and he brought, I think, the lion's share of the games to the Holiday Inn in Independence, Ohio, which is a little burb just south of Cleveland.
So they were advertising at least 100 games, right? There was 100 pinball machines or more? Yeah.
And lots of weird old, there was this game Airball. It was basically like a joystick-controlled hair dryer where you had to navigate a hovering ping pong ball through a series of geometrical shapes. I enjoyed that one quite a bit.
That's interesting.
I'll tell you the best part of this show.
Yes.
When I was last through Cleveland, I played at I don't know what it's called now. It used to be called the Nautica stage. During the day, I went and visited a place called Happy Dog, where they have 30 different kinds of hot dogs, including the peanut butter, sriracha, and dill relish dog that I had. I forget what it was called, but it was delicious.
That's fancy.
And I met up with some folks there that play in the Kid Force Collectibles League in Cleveland. Dude named Ryan, very nice guy. Well, a bunch of those guys were at the show yesterday. I hooked up with this guy, Kevin, who's a dentist in the Cleveland area. And I proceeded to school Kevin on game after game after game after game after game. And I started to feel bad because I started out trash talking, which is just what I do because my play is so wildly inconsistent. I
Yeah.
know that even though I've beaten the guy, he's about to crush me on the next game. But it just didn't happen. I just kept winning. And I said, okay, you pick the next game, whatever you want. And then he would pick a game, and then I would crush him on the next game. And I started to feel really bad because I was like, God, I've been a total asshole. I've been smack talking this guy and then actually kicking the shit on every single game we play.
Yeah, that's not very nice to show up to somebody's hometown like thing and then just, beat them
It
at
actually
everything.
got really fun, though. Like, his friends started getting in on it, and his friends were like, dude, Kevin, what's it like to have an arch nemesis? It was really fun.
I have a theory to this because when I got My America's Most Haunted, the next few times I went out and played in the world, I was a much better pinball player.
Right.
And you sent me what I felt sort of was also a smack-talking text message of some ridiculously high score on America's Most Haunted. And I just was like, yeah, I can't score that many points on that game. So I think you have upped your game via Spooky Pinball.
Yeah, I don't know. That game makes you play pretty defensively and also really tests your reaction time with some of the ways it throws that ball at you.
It's fast. It's very fast. So I think
it's fast. I really like it.
Okay, what other game highlights did you see at Cleveland?
I fell in love with Pharaoh.
Pharaoh, okay.
Is a game I was totally unfamiliar with. Solid state game, which mostly takes place on the upper play field. There's a very small lower play field, which basically consists of trying to get back to the upper play field via two very dangerous ramps, which will insta-drain you if you hit the post on either side of them.
I think you're starting to really like early 80s solid state games is what it sounded like.
I like... It was a great game, and also Sorcerer. I really enjoyed the Sorcerer there.
I played Sorcerer this evening myself.
That's a great game.
That's a very cool game. Yeah, those early Williams feel is just very unique.
And also, speaking of early Williams, Grand Prix.
Yes.
Grand Prix, ripping those spinners, even though this particular game, both flippers were kind of weak, and the right flipper was even weaker than the left. But off the left flipper, if you got it just right, you could really nail that right spinner. And I managed to roll that as part of another humiliating defeat of my new friend Kevin.
Kevin the dentist got
Kevin
schooled.
the dentist.
I love Grand Prix when you get a ball in those little side saucers and you just watch your bonus countdown. That's one of my favorite things. You get a little break and just watch the points scroll.
I was defeated one time in the evening. Actually, one time in the entire day.
Wow.
I lost a game on Matahari. It was the final game we played. In fact, we were the last machine running. The show closed down around us. We played a 4-player game on Matahari, and Ryan's fiance, I'm angry at myself, I cannot remember her name off the top of my head, but she was the winner of the final 4-player game. She was awesome.
Well, that's a good story. So unfortunately, Ryan still never won.
Ryan was poised to win Family Guy when we played it. He was like showing me all the rules, and he's clearly a very good player, this Ryan Cat. Very nice guy. Clearly a good player. But I crushed him on Family Guy. It was my first time playing that game.
Now, any chance that everyone was just really big Bare Naked Ladies fans and they were just nervous?
I don't think so. I think a few of them were true fans, and when I had met that Ryan guy before at Happy Dog, I offered him and his friends tickets to the show, so they came out to see it. But a couple of them had seen us a number of times. So
okay, all right. So
but I don't think anybody was sandbagging because I was so annoyingly trash talking them that they really wanted to crush me, because there came a point where they said, okay, screw this. We're playing Attack from Mars now. And I think that was Kevin's game. and I should have charged him for lessons on it.
Oh boy. That's really funny.
It was really funny. And as I say, all the trash talk was just total idiotic posturing because I just assumed they were all about to start beating me on every game we played. And I just got so lucky and had so many great balls. Yeah, it was a great time. Great show. Everyone I met was cool.
Did you
great vendors there?
Did you catch the Jersey Jack fireside chat? I think they were doing
that. I believe was tonight. I chatted with Butch there, who I've met at a couple different shows, and that I think was happening tonight. So I missed out on that. I'm not sure there's any more Hobbit news to reveal, though. I guess everybody's anxious for Hobbit news. But
there's parts. I saw parts on Facebook today.
Yeah, I saw that too, actually. The back alley creation, gold piles, and the book outlines. I saw that.
Man, you're hardcore. You know exactly which parts. Okay, so here.
Speaking of parts. Have you checked out that... the Pinball Customs thread? Brock from Toronto is doing a new coffin mod for Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I have not seen that. I will have to find that.
Oh my lord, you have to check it out. It has it will replace your cheesy Ron Jeremy coffin with the most beautifully hand-painted, sculpted.
I found it. I'm looking at it.
Creepy,
crypt-looking thing with a guy.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I found it. I'm already on it. Yeah.
Oh, it's so badass.
Do you have a Bram Stoker's Dracula?
I do. It's one of my favorite machines.
Oh, well, there you go.
Now, I have a Bram Stoker's Dracula with the much maligned regular flippers installed in it.
I can respect that.
That's the way Orsler designed that machine.
I played that game tonight as well, and that game is brutally hard with lightning flippers.
It is a brutally hard game, and it's all about trying to line up those 3 multi-balls, which is a gargantuan task. And I don't know why anyone would put lightning flippers on that game just because it needs to be harder, or like I want to earn more quarters on the game in my house. Why would I put lightning flippers? That game is hard enough. And it's all about the setup and lining up those 3 multi-balls. And as it is, it only happens to me once in every 10 games. Why would I want that to happen less?
I was at Papa 2 years ago, and I actually moved up to the B division because I was losing so bad in the C division. I thought, how could it get worse? And I kept seeing this Spider-Man game there, and I'm like, that's a game I can at least put a good score on. And I walk up to it, and I'm just dying on it. I'm like, what is wrong? And I realized there was lightning flippers on it.
Lightning flippers.
Lightning flippers. That's what's wrong.
Lightning flippers are good for operators.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and they're great for top 100 players and shortening those games. Those guys, they need a little handicapping. All right, so let's get down to the brass tacks here. What did you think of Game of Thrones and the release that we saw?
At first, I thought that Game of Thrones was like leukemia covered in diarrhea, mixed with dead, murdered students.
So you were in on the LE, is what you're saying.
But now it's really kind of growing on me.
Really? Okay.
You know what?
So you're the average pinsider, is what you are.
Yeah, I've been overwhelmed by the mob mentality of people piling onto this machine as if it actually killed their children or something. It's not what I expected. It's brighter than I expected. It's more generic than I expected. I think that's the worst thing I can say about it. Is it seems a little out of touch with the Game of Thrones world that I love so much.
So you are a fan of the show?
I'm a massive fan of the show.
Okay.
But I looked at that playfield and I went, that's not what I was expecting. But it's a Steve Ritchie game. The mode-based approach to it sounds really interesting. So I'm still excited about it.
I think that it's the danger of releasing just photographs of anything like that.
Well, and not even just photographs, renderings.
Yeah, renderings,
right?
Photos of renderings. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, we'll see soon enough. I agree, and I think I said that on the show already. So I agree, and I think that it's all going to come down to the feel of this thing at this point, because this is not going to be one of those just pretty pins that you buy because of the look. It's I wouldn't even say that it's ugly. I think it's disconnected, like you said, sort of generic.
Yeah. I really felt for Steve and that whole team today, because I know I've spent 18 months or 2 years writing songs and making a record, and then you get really excited to put it out and share it with people, and then you see like the first reviews, and the first reviews are like, this thing is a turd, and these guys haven't written a good song in 15 years, and what a waste. I wish I could get my money back. This is crap. Don't buy it. You know?
You got to have like thick skin when you're putting yourself out there.
And then it's like a couple months later, initially I didn't like this record, but it's really growing on me. It's like, well, why didn't you give it a second before you wrote your dastardly review?
Deadlines, Ed, deadlines. So
I'm good, thank you. The hotel shuttle just tried to pick me up.
Oh, that's funny. So you're out playing sort of one-off gigs right now.
Yeah,
Is this
a couple one-offs. I'm heading to the UK for a tour on the 27th.
Is there
And then Canadian tour mid-October.
Mid-October? Is that going to be it for U.S. dates for Silver Ball?
No, we'll be back. I presume we'll be back in the spring, and maybe even again in the summer.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, hey, I sent you the link. Did you get a chance to watch my episode of Dan's Space Van?
I did. I did. I watched most of it. I didn't get all the way through it. I was watching on my phone.
Oh, it's good. There's some good, fun pinball moments in that.
Yes. I don't think I knew quite the TV celebrity that you were in Canada. I've had a few people like send me other links to other things you've been on television. You have a lot of television episodes of. You had a show at one point, correct?
Yeah, I did 3 seasons of a television show called Heads Up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I just wasn't aware of that. You're a superstar, Mr. Robertson.
Yeah, in the U.S., I'm like a sort of a niche indie college rock band star. And in Canada, I'm like the national news anchor.
Well, I'll give you a little more credit that because I don't know that I have any friends who wouldn't know who you were. I could say that. Everyone knows at least who your band is, if nothing else.
Right.
I mean, we don't care about that here. We just want to hear your thoughts on pinball. But
exactly. And that's all I want to talk about these days anyway.
Absolutely. So you're going to miss Expo, which is a bummer because you're touring. You got to go make the donuts.
Yeah. I just miss it, too. I have a charity thing out on the West Coast, which rolls right into the start of my Canadian tour.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I'm wondering your first Game of Thrones experience. I since you are such a fan, I want to make sure you come back on the show once you've seen a Game of Thrones in person, and we can get your reactions from that point.
Yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, the bottom line is it's another new pinball machine, and that's exciting for me. There's lots on it that looks cool, and I'm a huge Steve Ritchie fan, so I sort of cut him a lot of slack, and I'm going to wait to play it.
Cool. Well, I think that's kind of where we're all starting to fall into. But thanks for talking and walking tonight and coming back on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Anytime, Nate. And if this airs soon enough, I'll encourage people to hit the Cleveland Pinball Show this weekend. And if they don't have time, certainly hit it up next year because it was a great show.
Yeah, I got some reports tonight from the tournaments going on right now. So I've got a few players. I got Evan Bingham, the pinball narcissist, who if you don't follow him on Facebook or Twitter, you should. It's really funny. He makes fun of how serious pinball players can be at times. And he was posting some of the results in it. And it's tournament's going on tonight. It continues on tomorrow. And then hopefully that becomes a yearly event because they can draw from, Pittsburgh and from, I guess, probably all the way up into Michigan, Kentucky. There's lots of places that can draw into a show like that.
Well, I just hope Kevin and Ryan and Aaron are playing better than they played against me in the tournament.
That's good stuff. All right, thanks, Ed. We'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, Nate. Take care.
All right, I want to thank Ed Robertson for coming on. That is going to be episode 194 of Coast to Coast Pinball. I can't tell you exactly when 195 will be. I'm out traveling doing events all of next week, so if I don't get it done this weekend, it might be a few days. I really appreciate you listening. I appreciate the feedback. Everybody's t-shirts are shipped from the last batch. I know I had let that one build up a little bit. Everything shipped before I left for this trip. I have shirts for sale. In fact, I have the green color also available in the same design that's on the site. Don't have photos of it, so you might want to wait till I can show it to you. So, again, you can always like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. I would really appreciate YouTube subscriptions. That's my big push right now, is I can get as many of you great listeners to subscribe to the YouTube page. I'll put a link on this show note to that, and I really appreciate the support there. Got some things coming in the future. Thanks again. Play some pinball. We'll talk to you soon.